We are living in unprecedented times. No matter what industry you come from, we must all review, rethink, and reinvent ourselves. Are you an entrepreneur that is trying to adapt your business to the new norm? Well, you are listening to the 2020 Entrepreneur, a podcast that will motivate you and have you think outside of the box. My name is Hugo Almeida, and with over 30 years of being an entrepreneur, I am here to share and inspire you with my experiences and help invent a new you. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to T20E World. This is Hugo, and I have here my great friend, Johnny Ruppert.
Good morning, Hugh. How are you?
Doing great, Johnny. Listen, I appreciate you stopping by the studios here, and today we're going to talk about what's preventing you from reaching your goal.
Yes.
That's a good one, John. I think this is going to be a helpful topic for all.
You know, hopefully this is helpful to a lot of people because honestly, identifying goals and identifying what we need to do to be able to reach those goals is a critical part.
Absolutely. We talked about, having a vision, right? It's great to have visions, and it's great to set goals. But keeping them, I think, realistic is important as well.
You know, they are, right? And look, whether you were talking about business or sports or any of those, you can't just look at what that finish line is.
No doubt.
Right?
No doubt.
If we look at it and say, look, ultimately my goal is to have the most successful business ever, right? You're missing a lot of those parts in the middle and a lot of those components that really kind of build all of the goal at the end.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, listen, this discussion about reaching your goals, it touches upon everybody, right? In everyday life. Let's talk about sports, John.
Sure.
Shoot, I mean, you coach baseball. I coached 19 years of soccer. At a young age, the question was always, listen, how many here are going to play pro?
Everybody
raises their hands.
You do get that one kid who steps up and says, like, I want to be I want to be.
You're right.
You have that other one. I want to be an astronaut.
I had a lawyer in my group. I remember that. And I think he will be a lawyer.
Absolutely.
But listen, the thing is this. The thing is, how do you realistically set the goal? Meaning, okay, one thing is when you're young, you have this inspiring individual, maybe like a Messi. Everybody wants to be the Messi or the Ronaldos out there, the Neymars. But really, can you get to that level? Can you become the Messi? You got to keep it realistic, but the reality is understanding your talents and maximizing it and working yourself to a goal that you set. A goal that you can reach.
Yes, absolutely. If you set the bar, actually, if you put, the overall goal at a point that can never be reached or it can't even be approached because it's just not possible, that's one thing. But look, when I work with, let's say, a kid who wants to, say, become the next best baseball player, right? Or they want to set something out and say, I want to be the best at that. First of all, you have to realize that if your goal is the quote unquote best, that's not a goal because the best really isn't possible because there are so many components in there.
No doubt.
Right?
Absolutely.
And, if you're doing it in business and say, well, I want to be the best what?
Yeah, exactly.
The most profitable, the best product, a life-changing product, something that has a huge impact to society. The best isn't a goal.
And again, John, we kind of touched upon this is, there's a lot of work that goes on beforehand to reach that goal. So we're talking about, setting goals, right? And how do we get to it? But what prevents us from getting to the goal? So there's homework to be done. Let's face it. I don't care if it's sports or business. Yeah. I mean, if it's business, well, you got to set a business plan in place. There's a lot that goes on behind closed doors in order for you to have a successful business. If it's sports, well, you know what? There's a lot of homework that gets done. I mean, we were talking about this, and you know this in baseball. I know this in soccer. Left foot, right foot. I mean, there's just a lot of training that takes place. So if you really want to set a goal, understand to reach that goal, it's going to take hard work and dedication and time.
Over my career, I've had the privilege of working with some younger folks, right? Some of the folks that are directly out of college, new to the business, new to the industry, and they shadow me for a while. Right? And what we'll do during those times that I have with them is say we go into a presentation. I love giving presentations to customers. I love having that pitch and selling us as an organization, right?
Absolutely.
When I walk into that room, right, the presentation that I give actually started 10 years ago, right? My first day at work. Everything that I have learned over the years gets me into that room, right?
So funny you're saying this, Johnny. We just did an episode on this.
Yeah.
Public speaking, really, but the art of it, it begins way, way, way before you even think or imagine. But continue. Yeah, this is good stuff.
So, when we're going through this, all of that work that you've done before it, right? Being able to command an audience or being able to understand your product, being able to understand your service and articulate it. Now, one of the things I love doing, I love working with kids. I love it
too. Absolutely.
It is like I am building a foundation for these kids' futures.
You are. Future leaders of America.
And, my background happens to be baseball. We talked about it during the last episode. And one of the things that I'm trying to get through to these kids is, they'll come up with the game on the line, last inning. Kids do this. They throw the ball in the air when they're, in the front yard with themselves and like, all right, bottom of the ninth inning.
That's right. Bottom of the ninth. Bases loaded.
Here comes little Johnny Ruppert. I throw the ball up in the air and I hit the home run and we win.
It's gone.
Look, when that happens in real life, if you are waiting for that moment to happen and then to start your practice, it's too late.
It's too late.
It is too late. You have got to start that work way beforehand. So when we talk about reaching the goal, right? Really, how do we define the goal? How do we reach the goal? Well, first of all, let's define what the goal is.
Absolutely.
I want to be able to have the tools necessary to be able to be successful. And they are have an effective product or message, being able to articulate it and presenting it and being passionate about it. And the last one is being successful with it. In the entrepreneur world, being able to make a living doing it, being able to make a very good living doing it, getting other people onto this message. Those are the goals, the real, concrete, foundational goals.
I agree, Johnny. 4 really key points Johnny just mentioned, but the most important thing here is setting the clarity, having those extremely clear goals so that you can focus and know what you're working for.
Definitely.
So, John, let's talk about, sometimes it's just not working. I'm not getting to where I want to get. We discussed this before about you got to tweak, right? There's no perfect path ever to reach that goal. You ever see those cartoons, like dating myself a little bit, but Dennis the Menace, go to the grocery store and pick me up some milk, and next thing you know, an hour and a half later, it comes back because he just routed. Instead of going straight down the street, he would go around the corner, down the street, back down the other way, eventually come back with the milk, meaning he reached the goal, right? He got home, he brought the milk home, but it took him an hour and a half, meaning the pathway is never just set direction, one direction, straight up. Let's face it, reaching a goal, like we said before, takes a lot of work. There's a lot of homework to be done. But you got to have that clear vision, clear mind, and you have to have that passion. The passion of when it's not going right because you're trying to reach that goal, that you're just going to tweak your plan just a slight bit, see if that works. But you're always focused on reaching that goal.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest misconceptions in this world is that failure is just failure, and that's it. And it isn't.
It's not.
Talk to any scientist.
That's right.
They build a hypothesis, they test it. If they're wrong, man, you don't see them stop being a scientist.
That's right.
That is part of the process.
No doubt.
There's this famous expression. Look, man, I screw up famous expressions all the time. For anybody who's listening, and for the man who sits next to me right now, he knows this. I get the gist of the expressions. I might get some of the details wrong, but when Edison invented the light bulb, I think one of his famous things, well, look, I had to figure out 10,000 ways how not to make a light bulb first, right? Failure is going to be part of it. You have got to accept that, and you have got to be okay with that. Failing is part of that strength that you get. Be okay with failure because it is not going to kill you.
Nope.
The sun will still come up tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning is right.
Right? And you start again. But this time, you're not starting from scratch.
That's right.
You already know that one road doesn't lead there.
Yep.
Change it a little bit.
The message here, Johnny, is to everybody out there is, listen, when you see something not going perfect and it going your way to reach that goal, listen, let's not get frustrated. Let's keep it real, because I know it is frustrating, but you can't let that knock you down. As a matter of fact, take it for a positive. You're educating yourself.
Yeah.
Like John said, he used the example of a scientist. You're right. When the formula doesn't go perfect, guess what? They don't stop being scientists. They start tweaking. And it's all part of a process. And I think the message we're trying to get to everyone today is, what is preventing you from reaching your goal is having that clear mind, clear vision, always working towards your plan to get to that goal. And understanding, the most important thing is understanding it's not a perfect pathway to that goal. You're going to have to tweak. You're going to have to go off path sometimes. But eventually, your eye is glued to the goal, all right? The passion you have, the drive, the internal drive, forget all the mistakes, because you're right. There's no such thing as failure. They're just teaching you not to do it again. And I hope you listen to that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Failure for me used to feel like death. Failure for me now is, I learned from that. I am now better because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we're older, we're wiser nowadays, right? Let's face it, both of us in our 20s, something didn't go right because I had that vision. I would envision myself doing something. And if it didn't go right, let me tell you, if I understood back then of what I know today, I would have learned to accept failure without getting so frustrated, man. And I would have learned to just educate myself from those mistakes and continue to drive forward towards the goal I had. It didn't mean I'm never going to do it. It just meant I tripped. I got back up. I continue.
Yeah. Hands down, learning how to deal with failure. And, I'd like to kind of put this in the ground right now with this. Failure, right?
Yep.
Needs to be addressed. It's an elephant in the room. It has got to be acknowledged, because there are people who sit there and say, I'm not going to fail.
Yeah.
I refuse to lose.
Well,
I refuse to fail. And if you are doing that, you're a fool, because you can't refuse to lose. It's physically impossible, because there are things that will happen outside of your control.
Listen, I remember early on in my coaching years, one thing I would always say to everybody is, you ever celebrate a championship?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to be a champion is to understand how to lose also. Because then is when you truly appreciate and celebrate that victory you just have. You understand how hard, all the sweat, all the training, everything it took to get to this point to win a championship game, because you understand what it is to lose. Listen, that's why we also say, have compassion for the team that got here to play against you. Why? Because they also sweated it out. They got to this game. They just didn't win today.
Absolutely.
It's so important, John.
Hugh, I want to put a note that you and I need to talk about not hating your competition.
No, that's true. That's a whole other topic, though.
We need to bring this topic up one day, because I did not learn that until I was 35. And I played countless baseball games and soccer games and basketball, thinking those are my enemy.
Well, I'll tell you right now, John, it comes down to coaching. And I'll blame the coaches straight up. There's a way to coach the youth, and there's a different way to coach the youth, because it's not just about the sport when you're coaching.
Yeah, you're right.
You're guiding a child, their future. You're setting those bricks. You're part of that. You're part of the development process, whether you know it or not. But a lot of parents try to relive.
You're making the arms or the hair on my arms stick up when you say this.
I'm just starting to think back at my soccer days when all the parents on the sidelines were Pelés. They were all Pelés, man. They're all Messis. But yet you give them a soccer ball, they couldn't even hold it on their foot. They couldn't juggle it on their thigh.
We've got to do an episode on this. We've got to do episodes.
Let's just come back.
Yeah, let's bring it back.
Let's bring it back here, baby. Back to
goals.
Understanding what is preventing every one of us for reaching our goals. John mentioned some great points. And I just want to say, to keep this podcast as simple as possible, as short and compressed as possible, and to get our point through to everyone listening today, to reach a goal. You have a vision, you're setting a goal. You want to have a clear vision towards that goal.
And identifying those steps.
And understanding it's going to take work. The thing we're trying to get through to everybody is it's not going to be a set, smooth pathway to that goal. I think the key here is do not get frustrated, one. Secondly, keep your eye on the ultimate goal because you're going to keep working towards it no matter how many times you fall, no matter how many times you're tripping, no matter how many times something just is not working out. I don't care if it's sports or I don't care if it's in business. If it's in sports, we talked about this, in soccer, you have a strong right foot, you have a strong left foot, continue to work and improve the other side as well. Work on the talents you have, improve on the talents you do not have. Keep your eye on the goal,
Continue to learn.
Always continue to learn.
And make sure that the goal is achievable.
Absolutely.
The best to be the best isn't a goal.
That's a great point. Listen, I always say it's great to dream. I have dreams. I want a 54-foot yacht someday, but it's great to dream. It's good to set a goal. I mean, maybe a goal is, let's say, a 32-foot Sea Ray. No, what I'm saying here is this. It's great to have dreams. It's excellent to set goals. And every day we should be striving to reach those goals. Keep them simple. Some could be long-term goals. Some are short-term goals. Understand that, and it's good to have both. Some short-term, some long-term.
Hey, can I throw something to you?
Throw it, John. Curveball here.
Don't keep those goals to yourself.
No doubt. Absolutely. You know what? Let me share something really quick. One of the things a mentor told me once is he had me pull out an index card. And on that index card is write 3 things in life that you want to accomplish in the next year. Make them real. And have one that's a little unrealistic, not far-fetched, a little unrealistic. And he said to me, I want you to fold that up and put it in your wallet or your pocket. But keep it with you every day. And every morning, take a look at it. And those are the goals you're going to strive for in the next fiscal year. I did that. I was in my 30s, I think, already. I've never been to Walt Disney in Florida. Never been there. That was one of my goals, to take my family to Walt Disney. Goodness, I was like a child. I was able to do it. I was able to take the whole family. We went to Disney. I think I had a better time than my own kids did. I was a big kid with the Mickey ears
knowing you?
Yeah, I know.
I see it. I see it.
Freaking hot out there.
I see you riding those teacups 100 times singing It's a Small World.
It's a Small World. That's right. You know me too well, John. The other thing was, I remember I said, unreachable goal was to get a beach house someday, a condo down the shore. Now that takes a lot more work, a lot more planning. But you know what? It didn't happen in that year, John. But it did happen in the next couple of years. I was able to always keep my eye on that goal.
Well, you made it real.
I made it real. I planned. I saved. I put stuff away. We cut back. It's all part of that process. But I think what I'm trying to tell everybody here is try that out. It worked for me. Put 3 goals down on a piece of index paper. Put it in your pocket. Look at it every day. I don't care if you got to tape it up on your monitor. Look and read it out loud every day. Okay? Now, if it doesn't happen in the next year, don't get frustrated. What is it going to take to tweak?
Didn't we just talk about, look, you have your goals.
That's right.
Things come up.
That's right.
Just because your goal is to take my family to Disney World.
That's right.
If you don't make it, that
okay.
doesn't mean you failed.
No doubt, man. Listen, even a weekend to get away with the family, that's great. It doesn't mean you took everybody to Disney, just couldn't do it this year. That's okay, too.
Things happen.
Absolutely.
The smartest people, right? If I would have said to you, hey, Hugh, look, you'll have enough money to be able to take your family to Disney, but it's going to severely stress you out. The economy isn't as good as you wanted, and your business prospects for the future are bad, but your goal here is listed as take the family to Disney, so let's go ahead and do it.
Oh, shoot.
The practical Hugh is going to say, well, that's not a good idea.
Not the right time.
Okay, but you could have reached your goal.
Absolutely. We could have maxed out the credit cards.
The point is things change.
Absolutely, Johnny.
You
great
that
point.
Dream real by putting it down. When I mean real, I don't mean, hey, it's a real dream. Most people's dreams are real, right? But listen, tell somebody, tell a friend, tell your husband or your wife or your father. My father was my biggest mentor in the world. I told him what my dreams were.
Absolutely.
Right?
You're right. Share those dreams.
Share them.
Share your goals. There's no far-fetched goal out there. Dreams are real. I mean, keeping the goal that you want to strive for, that has to get a little more realistic. But it's okay to have these long-term crazy goals and dreams because that's what motivates us. But then let's keep short-term goals in mind and in a longer-term goal in mind because those are the ones you're going to really work for, towards, plan, stress over work, longer out, whatever it takes. You know what I mean? Again, John and I just said to everyone here, the pathway is not always clear. It gets foggy. We get sidetracked. Things happen. Keep the frustration as low as possible. Educate yourself on every mistake that happens or, if something doesn't go perfect, well, we learned from that mistake. So, John, before we wrap this conversation up, give me 2 tidbits of advice on what to do if something is preventing you from reaching that goal.
So I do a lot of reading, and I don't know, hope you don't mind if I mention this book, but there is a book called The Obstacle is the Way.
Okay.
Right?
I've never read that one.
Oh, God, it's a book by Ryan Holiday.
Awesome.
And it is such an amazing book, and it's a series of 3, but this one in particular is called The Obstacle is the Way. And, what it really tells you is find what is preventing you from reaching the goal and attack it. The obstacle, wherever you find that obstacle, that is the path that you need to take, right? I'm going to paraphrase here. Don't fiddle fart around and dilly-dally around the edges. Attack the problem.
There you go.
Right?
Awesome.
First and foremost, attack the obstacle. Find it, attack it. That's first.
Awesome advice.
Second thing is, you have to make sure that you're being objective in finding out what is actually preventing you from reaching the goal. Be objective about it. Don't have such a laser focus that you can't pull yourself back a little bit and be able to see the bigger picture, right?
Absolutely,
Sometimes
John.
you think,
Great.
well, the problem is this. Well, if you were to step back, you might see that the problem is different than what you're perceiving it to be, right? Share your problems with people. Tell them what you're experiencing. Speak it out loud. Put it on paper. Get a perspective on it.
Phenomenal advice here, John. That is dead on point. I couldn't say it any better. Johnny, thank you for sharing that. And the message I want to leave everybody with, and we already have mentioned it many times during this podcast, is really, when you have a goal and you see it not happening immediately, it's okay, man. Patience, tweak, but continue to keep your eye on that goal. So listen, John, I want to just say gracias. Thank you, brother, for coming by here and sharing and discussing with everybody today what might be preventing you reaching your goal. So stay tuned for many other podcasts to come. We're going to have some great episodes, great guests.
I've loved them so far. Loved them.
Thank you. Please follow us, T20E World. This is Johnny Ruppert and Hugo, and we are checking out.